Hello, my name is Douglas Bloch. Welcome to the Depression Recovery Channel, where each week we talk about practical tools and coping strategies for healing from depression and anxiety. Today is Flashback Friday, a feature in which I republish one of my earlier videos you might not have seen that contains really important coping strategies that will help you attain a better mood. Now here's today's video. The title of today's video is You Are a Hero. Before we get started, we have to tell our wonderful joke. And, scientists got together to study how alcohol affects a person's walk. The results were staggering. All right. So that was good, wasn't it? So one of the reasons people with depression often struggle with low self-esteem. And that's because when you're seriously depressed, you can't function at the same level as so-called normal people. So how do we who go through depression measure or determine our self-worth when we're not being productive members of society? One symptom that many people with depression struggle with is low self-esteem. This is partially because when you're seriously depressed, you can't function at the same level as so-called normal people. So how does someone with depression measure or achieve their self-worth when they're not being a so-called quote-unquote productive member of society? One answer to my question came from my therapist, Pat. I was talking to her about a friend of mine from high school who was the vice president of Bank of America, and he had a lot of prestige, and I just felt so small in comparison. And she said to me, well, your friend may work on the 66th floor of an office building in Manhattan, but you have your work too, and that is to recover from this illness. That's a much harder job than being vice president of a bank. You see, given your level of pain, just managing to function is a task that takes great courage, great perseverance, great staying power. I'm sorry that nobody is giving you a financial reward for this, but that does not invalidate the important work that you're doing. Pat's words were revelatory to me. After hearing them, I realized, wow, even with my own limitations, I can find some way of defining my self-worth. One person who did this amazingly skillfully was Christopher Reeve. Those of you my age may remember that he attained great fame in the 70s for playing the title role of Superman, and he also starred in the next 3 sequels. Then on May 27th, 1995, tragedy struck. He was a horseback rider, but then he was in an equestrian competition. The horse threw him, he fell on his head, broke his neck, and was paralyzed from the shoulders down. The rest of his life, he was confined to using a wheelchair and being on a ventilator. Even with those horrible limitations, Reeve still managed to carve out a life for himself and attained fame and recognition for his work promoting spinal research. Shortly after the fall, someone asked Reeve, what's your definition of a hero? And this is what he said. When the first Superman movie came out, I was frequently asked, what is a hero? My answer was that a hero is someone who commits a courageous action without considering the consequences. A soldier who crawls out of the foxhole to drag an injured buddy to safety. I also met people who are slightly larger than life, Houdini and Lindbergh, John Wayne, JFK, and Joe DiMaggio. Now my answer is completely different. I think of a hero as an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and to endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles. When I read this quote by Christopher Reeve, it changed my life. Instead of seeing myself as weak or incompetent, I reframed my battle against depression as a heroic struggle. And the same can be said of anyone who's had to deal with crippling anxiety and depression. When I observe people who spent their lives battling psychiatric illnesses, I don't see wimps. What I see are strong and courageous individuals who have the Herculean task of bearing and transforming intense pain. Now, I would like to see if you can reframe your life in the same way. When you look over yourself, do you see yourself as weak or defective, or do you see yourself as someone who is battling a heroic struggle? Why don't you take some time and think about this, and I'd like you to write down your thoughts. You can pause the video if you like. In looking over your life, I really hope that you can use Christopher Reeve's definition of a hero to define your life as someone who has the ability to persevere in their struggle in spite of overwhelming obstacles. You're not damaged. You're not defective. Many people in your situation might have already given up. The fact that you are still fighting the good fight speaks of your perseverance and in your commitment to your mental health recovery. And in this sense, you truly are a hero. This has been Douglas Bloch. I hope you found the information on this Flashback Friday video helpful. If so, please give it a like, as likes draw more and more people to this channel and hopefully some more subscribers. You can also leave your comments in the comments section or email me, douglasbloch@gmail.com. If you do want to subscribe to this channel, click on my photo in the closing credits. You'll be taken to my subscribe page. And if you click on the bell to the right, you'll be notified every time I do a new video or live chat. And if you want to contribute to this channel and become a patron, simply click on the Patreon image. You'll be taken to my crowdfunding site. And until next video, I wish you the best in your mental health recovery. Thank you so much.